There are many different ways to perform a cable tricep pushdown, and so what we'll do is go through the similarities between all of the variations. We're trying to keep a stable shoulder position, so our shoulders don't really move too much, and we definitely don't want any major shoulder blade protraction. That's when our shoulder blades come apart and our shoulder rolls round and forward. If you see people getting towards the bottom of a tricep pushdown and the shoulder rounds forward like this throughout the range of motion, particularly towards the end, they are compromising what the tricep should be doing by using the trap musculature instead. And the brain is thinking about pushing the hands down rather than thinking about making the tricep do the work. And all these variations within this demonstration basically provide slightly different ways to achieve the same objective, which is to put load into the tricep where the elbow is the primary movement. The shoulder should be staying still. And so we'll go through all of them. So this handle here can be good because it takes away some of the lateral movement of your forearm. And so for some people, this kind of 45-degree angle on this grip provides them with reduced elbow pain or a little bit more wrist comfort when they're going from this position to the pushed position at the bottom. However, in my personal opinion, you do need to rotate the upper arm. So this is internal rotation because my elbow is coming from my side and rotating out in this direction. You need internal rotation to get a full lockout elbow position. And you'll just notice my elbow is facing backwards, and then as it gets to there's this subtle turn of the arm towards the end at that lockout position, which is fine because the shoulder isn't really rounding forwards. It's just a rotation of the upper arm musculature and the upper arm bone, also known as your humerus. This grip is a slightly reduced version of that same principle. So the angle of it isn't quite as aggressive. It's not quite at 45 degrees, but this can be a nice compromise. When we push down with a straight bar, that can put a bit of pressure onto people's wrists. And so some people will either opt for this one here that was in the previous demonstration, or they will opt for this one here because it just takes a little bit of pressure off that wrist and it allows your elbows to completely lock out at the bottom. The rope attachment is probably the most versatile of the demonstrations so far because it allows for your wrists to do whatever they want to allow your elbows to completely lock out. And you'll see here, I've got that same internal rotation, but I can effectively bend the rope so that my wrists feel comfortable. I can completely lock out my wrists, and as a result of that, get a better squeeze through the tricep at the bottom. And then all of these variations can be formed in a slightly more bent over position, which just puts the shoulder joint into a fractionally more open position, and it doesn't require you to rotate your upper arm as much because you can put yourself into this position. You can on purposely start the movement with protracted shoulder blades and shoulders pushed forwards. And as a result of that, it can basically make it a little bit easier to get to this locked out elbow position. So you have to play around with it and you have to try both because some people prefer standing more upright and some people get a better contraction when they do it like this. So if you push your shoulders forward, push your shoulder blades apart, and then the objective here that you have to focus on a little bit more, which doesn't come as naturally, is as the cable is coming down, you don't continue to push straight down in the direction of the cable. When you get to about this point, think about pushing your elbows forwards. So you're pushing your elbows towards the machine or to the wall in front of you. And that will just really focus that last little bit of the tricep contraction. And then this last version is my personal favorite, and it's a underarm grip on the rope with a kind of halfway between leant over position. This one for me feels most comfortable on my elbows. You can do an underarm tricep extension with this one here as well. I find that this version gives me the best tricep contraction with the least amount of thought process. But once upon a time, this was my favorite one, and then this was my favorite one. But at different times, whilst I've been training for different things, different tricep exercises have just felt easier. But now, at this particular point in time, this one feels really good. So don't be scared to change if the one that you are currently performing is losing its grip on your ability to get a really good tricep contraction. Play around with it every now and then and make sure you find one that feels like you are getting a really good squeeze at this bottom position.